Well, guys, the time has come. I've officially updated my website. As you can see, it looks a lot more simple, and I've also added some new shirts. As you can see, they're epic. They're also on sale. The Liberal Tears mugs and everything, the original is still on there, and I actually have something very special to show you guys. I have one in real life. So here it is. This is what it looks like. As you can see, it's printed extremely high quality, and what I didn't know is that I actually have it on both sides. So if you're right-handed or left-handed, you'll be able to see a Liberal Tears mug from either side. And don't forget, you can also order it without the smiley face if you don't like that. But it's actually the most popular one, which is pretty funny. So here you go. Here it is. Check out the new website. You can read the description if you want. Check it out. Thank you guys. Let's get into the video. See you later.
Sean, several topics. One,
Shocker.
don't be. You heard the question that I lobbed at the Attorney General about the hate crime that happened in New York. The white supremacist who went to New York and targeted a black man. Hate crimes are on the rise. What do you say? What is this White House saying about this obvious, apparent hate crime?
I'm not gonna. I mean, you yelled at the Attorney General a specific case, if I'm not correct.
In the past to talk about this, and you've talked about issues of
Right,
hate
and
crimes.
I'm glad to talk about the issue. I just want to be very clear
Uh-huh.
that I am not going to reference any specific case before the DOJ right now. I will say that the president has recognized that we need to bring the country together. He wants to unite this country. He wants to bring people together. He had a very long conversation with respect to race in itself, which I think is somewhat, if I'm not correct in your question. There, okay, I just want to be clear. Thank you. And I think that was one of the topics that he talked about with the CBC. Some of the issues with respect to crime and education and some of the solutions that they suggested that could be done during their meeting. And I think those are the kind of things that I think we can continue that conversation.
Okay, Sean, unfortunately, there's been a rise in hate crimes when it comes to different groups, to include anti-Semitic crimes.
Yeah, and
you've commented from that podium. This is clear. This gentleman in his jailhouse gave a statement to a reporter talking about he wishes the man were younger and he was a thug that he killed. So what do you say to this? This is clear. It's racism at its utmost.
Yeah. Two issues. Number one, I think hate crimes, anti-Semitic crimes of any nature should be called out in the most reprehensible way. There is no room for that in our country, and I think the president noted that in the joint address, that there is one issue that, despite policy, should unite us, and that is calling out hate, that is calling out divisiveness based on the color of one's skin, one's religion, one's gender. The president's been very clear on that, and he's called it out before. He's, with respect to certain particular situations, he made it very clear at the opening of his joint address. That's what he led with, is a call to denounce hate no matter where we come from politically. He's also talked about it the night that he took the stage on that Wednesday morning around 2:40 a.m. about how one of the things that he needed to do and wanted to do as president was unite all Americans. But I think that there's one other piece to this, April, that I just want to be clear on. While we unequivocally, no question about it, need to call out hate, anti-Semitism where it exists, there is another thing that we have to do. And in your case in particular, while I don't know all of the details and I don't want to reference any specific case, but I think we saw this the other day with some of the anti-Semitic behavior that was going out with respect to people of the Jewish faith, is that we saw these threats coming into Jewish community centers, and there was an immediate jump to criticize folks on the right and to denounce people on the right and ask them to condemn them. And it turns out that, in fact, it wasn't someone on the right, and it was the president from the get-go had said, I bet you it's not someone, and he was right. And yet, oh no, I understand that. And that's,
I'm saying he's a white supremacist.
I understand that, and I think in those cases, there's no question, black and white, we need to call out all instances of this. But that being said, while we're on the topic, I do think that there has been a rush to judgment in a lot of other cases when it comes to, in particular, some of the anti-Semitic discussion, where people have jumped to the conclusion about denouncing people on the right and asking for this. And in that particular case, we saw that the president was right and that this rush to judgment by a lot of folks on the left was wrong, and none of them have been held to account on that. And that is something that equally needs to be called out. When people are charging something of someone that is not true, there has been nothing to go back to those individuals. Nothing on the left who came and asked for everyone on the right to denounce something that they weren't guilty of. And I think that there needs to be an equal go back in time and call out those individuals for rushing to judgment and calling out those individuals.
My second topic, and I'm done. Someone who was in the room, you like talking about this CBC meeting that happened last week, someone who was actually in the room at that meeting said that the issue of HBCUs came up, and that's a very sensitive subject right now in the black community and here at the White House. The issue of HBCUs came up, and it's Omarosa said that she would be the one heading the HBCU office at the White House, and the president did not make a response confirming or denying. Will this be the case? Is this the case?
We don't have any announcements to make. I assume that you're referring to the executive order, and we don't have anything to announce on that subject at this time. Chris, aware of that existed. That got zero reporting. Number two, when he went out yesterday and said, quote, I think it's very possible, you don't include that in the question mark. The bottom line is that the president said last night that he will be providing, that there would be additional information coming forward. There's a ton of media reports out there that indicate that something was going on during the 26th election. And I think it's interesting, where was the questioning of the New York Times or these other outlets when that was going on? Where was the question? I believe you will. Jim.
Yeah, you were just quoting Sean Hannity there. The House and Senate Intelligence Committees are
I also
quoting
quoted,
FBI.
I get you're going to cherry pick.
FBI director, you're citing Sean Hannity.
No,
and
okay.
Andrew
You also
Napolitano.
look over. You also tend to overlook all of the other sources because I know you want to cherry pick it. But but you do. But where was your concern about the New York Times reporting? You didn't seem to have a concern with that.
We have done plenty of reporting on all of this.
No,
Sean.
but you want to cherry
These
pick
connections
one
between the
commentary,
aides of
one
the
piece of
president,
commentary.
Associates of the president to the Russians, that has all been looked at. And
No,
it's-
wait. How do you know all this? How do you seem to be such an expert in this?
I'm saying that this has been looked at, Sean.
How do you know it's been looked
that
at?
there have been-
Hold on. Where is? I'm sorry. I'm afraid to understand. Where can you tell me how you know that all of this is quote been looked at?
You're asking me whether or
You
not
made a
it's been looked
statement.
at.
You said quote all of this has been looked at.
Other outlets have reported.
No. So okay. So
on
we're supposed.
contacts
So when your outlet says it's all been
associates
looked
and aides
at,
of the president and the Russians during the 2016 campaign, it sounds like during the context of that investigation, there might have been some intercepted communications. The House Intelligence Committee chairman did mention that, and we have reported that. Others have reported that on our air and various publications. But Sean, what you are refusing to answer, the question that you're refusing to answer is whether or not the president still
no, I'm
believes
not
what
refusing.
he
I just said it
believes.
to Jonathan. I didn't refuse to
But
answer that.
you have a Senate and House Intelligence Committee, both leaders from both parties on both of those panels saying that they don't see any evidence of any wiretapping. So how can the president go on and continue to
Because
say
that's not
these
because
things?
you're mischaracterizing what Chairman Nunez said. He said, quote, I think it's possible he's following up on this. So to suggest that is actually, and you're stating unequivocally that you somehow,
Literally, he said if you take the
right, and
president
I think that
literally,
we've already
he
cleared
is
that
wrong.
up. And he said exactly that, but the president has already said clearly when he referred to wiretapping, he was referring to surveillance. So that's,
But it sounds like, Sean, that
Okay.
you and the president are saying now, well, we don't mean wiretapping anymore,
No,
because
if we-
that's not true anymore.
no,
So now
we-
we're going to
no,
expand
that's
that
not
to other
true.
forms of surveillance. What's it going to be next?
No, Jim, I think that's cute, but at the end of the day, we've talked about this for 3 or 4 days. What the president had the quote wiretapping in quotes. He was referring to broad surveillance, and now you're basically going back. We talked about this several days ago. The bottom line is that the investigation by the House and the Senate has not been provided all of the information. And when it does, but where was the concern? Hold on, I just.
News reports, not
No,
evidence.
no.
not
What I
conversations
think the
with
president
FBI
addressed that last night and said there's more to come. These are merely pointing out that I think there's widespread reporting that throughout the 2016 election there was surveillance that was done on a variety of people that came up. No, how do you, Jim? I find it interesting that you somehow believe that you.
Of course, they're going to be looking at
Okay.
these various things.
Okay, I get it. Somehow, you seem to believe that you have all of this information. You've been read in on all of these things, which I find very interesting.
I have been running by the FBI.
Well, so
director,
you're
but the
coming to
House
some
and Senate
serious
intelligence
conclusions
committees have
for a
been.
guy that has zero intelligence class.
Give me some credit.
I'll give you some
A little intelligence, maybe. But no, but
clearance.
What I'm saying is that
I wasn't done. Clearance.
Those two panels.
Maybe both.
Well, come on. Those two panels have spoken with the FBI director, and
I
have been told
understand
there's
that.
no evidence of this.
Okay,
So
I think this question's been asked and answered, Jim.
This farce and just have the
Because
president say
it's
he's
interesting
wrong.
how you jump to all of these conclusions about what they have, what they don't have, and you seem to know all the answers. But at the end of the day, there was clearly a ton of reporting. Hold on, Jim. Let me answer. No, I think that there's been a vast amount of reporting, which I just detailed, about activity that was going on in the 2016 election. There's no question that there were surveillance techniques used throughout this. I think by a variety of outlets that have reported this activity concluded. So, and I think when you actually ask those two people whether or not, and as Chairman Nunes says yesterday, when you take it literally in wiretapping, the president's already been very clear that he didn't mean specifically wiretapping. He had it in quotes. So I think to fall back on that is a false premise. That's not what he said. He was very clear about that when he talked about it yesterday. Major.
A lot of these kids are young, high school. Talk to some high school kids, talk to some college kids, and then there's some older adults, some like, so Trump's a racist seems to be the main thing they keep preaching. It's interesting, these guys are carrying a come and take it flag, and they're the anybody but Trump party. And I asked them about the Second Amendment, and they're like, this flag can mean a lot of things. Well, it actually literally means they put that up to the Mexican soldiers and said, come take their cannon. so it just shows how little history these guys know. And now the Black Lives Matter chants have started. They were doing All Lives Matter, and then they switched to Black Lives Matter at one point. So there's still people back behind the barrier. The protesters have definitely grown. I'd say they probably doubled in size from earlier, and Trump has not shown up yet, to my knowledge. I think he'll come through the back way. I don't think he's going to come this front way. So anyway, everybody's getting access to the porta potties, though. So you still see the protesters by the sign. They hate the billionaires, don't know about Soros. Here they come. Just a smattering of what's been going on most of the day. But the march has grown. More people are joining it. And it looks like some people are coming down. More people are joining this as we speak. It's getting bigger and bigger. But there you get them. So that's just a quick clip of what's coming up tonight. And here we go.
You would be an excellent pilot with the way you handle that airplane.
Anyway, diverse crowd. Are you joining the protest?
Yeah, I'm with the Veterans for Trump protest.
All right.
And anything to get rid of Paul Ryan, our most hated congressman here in Wisconsin.
Yeah, hopefully they say there's a plan to do that.
Oh yeah, well, we don't know how to do that since the voting system is so corrupt.
Right.
We think the electronic machines get their wires crossed, and they're worried about our...
I'm sure that's all by accident, too.
Yeah, that's by accident. If the vote's running in the wrong direction, they just twist them, I think.
That's how they keep us controlled.
Yeah, that's how. That and dropping bombs on us so they can protect us.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, thanks for talking to me. Have a good one. All right, so yeah, some Veterans for Trump have joined the...
Hey, I have a story for you, InfoWars. I need to
Oh, yeah? What do you got?
I should be inside the Trump rally right now, and I'm not. You just talked to me earlier.
They kicked you out.
And what does my sign say? Love Trump's hate. They kicked me out. I went up there peacefully. I have a ticket to this event. They kicked me out on the grounds that it's a private event and it's private property, and I got kicked off. They're racially profiling people at the door. I watched a group of people get kicked out behind me who were wearing nothing. They had no signs, nothing. They were racially selected and profiled and removed off the property.
Well, I saw a couple black people go into the event, if that's what you're referring to, but they did kick out a girl with face paint on that said no hate.
They kicked out a young couple is what I think that they are age discriminating, to be honest with you. But the thing is freedom is not free when you can't walk into an election. Like, you can't walk into it. Sorry, it's so busy out here. Freedom's not free when you can't walk in and listen to a presidential candidate speak, even in peace. I came here with no Bernie stuff. I was not bringing this sign in. I was very aware of the fact that I was just going to go and peacefully listen to him talk. They removed me from the property and laughed in my face, and are handpicking whoever gets to go inside. How free is our country when you can't even listen to a candidate speak? I just need to know that.
Well, I think what's going on is there've been so many events disrupted that they're preemptively selecting people who they think are going to cause trouble. And I'm not saying you're going to cause trouble.
That's true, but
Because people blame Trump for when violence happens at his events. They say it's Trump's fault. But Trump didn't tell people to show up and start stuff at his events.
Right, but those people that showed up that quote unquote started stuff were not doing anything either. They were standing there in peace, and then the Trump's people agitated them, right? That's what happened. So, I mean, I just need to stress, this cannot be considered an event that's actually being run on a level of fairness or equality, which is the whole reason I was here today, was to see that, was to challenge that, was to question that. And the fact that I couldn't even get into the rally and I'm not even doing anything wrong speaks volumes, just speaks volumes. I think that people need to know that their rights are being stripped away.
Well, I'm about to upload this video, so they're going to know.
Thank you very much.
All right, have a good one.
Thanks, InfoWars.
So there you go, kicked out of a private event for...
Hello everyone! Hey, I'm just stopping by to remind you that liberals are insane! Social justice warriors are becoming more violent and triggered than ever before. Anyways, be sure to subscribe to KGP TV on YouTube and have a blessed day. Yeah, man!
Unfortunately, there's been a rise in hate crimes when it comes to different groups, to include anti-Semitic crimes.
Yeah, and
but you've commented from that podium. This is clear. This gentleman in his jailhouse gave a statement to a reporter talking about he wishes the man were younger and he was a thug that he killed. So, what do you say to this? This is clear. It's racism at its utmost.
Yeah. Two issues.
And don't forget, you can also order it without the smiley face if you don't like that. But it's actually the most popular one. It was pretty funny. So here you go. Here it is. Check out the new website. You can read the description if you want. Check it out. Thank you guys. Let's get into the video. See you later.
Sean, several topics. One,
Shocker.
don't be. You heard the question that I lobbed at the Attorney General about the hate crime that happened in New York. The white supremacists who went to New York and targeted.
He wants to unite this country. He wants to bring people together. He had a very long conversation with respect to race in itself, which I think is somewhat, if I'm not correct in your question.
Oh, it is.
There, okay, I just want to be clear. Thank you. And I think that was one of the topics that he talked about with the CBC. Some of the issues with respect to crime and education and some of the solutions that they suggested that could be done during their meeting. And I think those are the kind of things that I think we can continue that conversation.
Okay, Sean Blackman, hate crimes are on the rise. What do you say? What is this White House saying about this obvious apparent hate crime?
I'm not gonna. I mean, you yelled at the Attorney General a specific case, if I'm not correct.
In the past to talk about this, and you've talked about issues of hate
Right, and
crimes.
I'm glad to talk about the issue. I just want to be very clear
Uh-huh.
that I am not going to reference any specific case before the DOJ right now. I will say that the president has recognized that we need to bring the country together.
Well guys, the time has come. I've officially updated my website. As you can see, it looks a lot more simple, and I've also added some new shirts. As you can see, they're epic. They're also on sale. The Liberal Tears mugs and everything, the original is still on there, and I actually have something very special to show you guys. I have one in real life. So here it is. This is what it looks like. As you can see, it's printed extremely high quality, and what I didn't know is that I actually have it on both sides. So if you're right-handed or left-handed, you'll be able to see a Liberal Tears mug from either side.